Hello everyone, I'm setting up my iPad so we can be live. I'm getting ready to do a technique video. Okay, I think I got everything ready. My name is Rita Holmes. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I live in Hamilton, Ohio, and I like to do technique videos, and that's what I'm bringing you today. It's called Border Band Technique. If you could, I'd like for you to share my video so I can get out and stretch out to more people and hopefully inspire them with techniques to do with their stamping. I have a Facebook page called Stamp Crazy VIP where I do my techniques live in a Facebook Live every Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. After the video, I do put a PDF of the technique of how to do it and the supplies and how to do the card in a file that you are more than welcome to go there and get and start your a technique book. I do have a technique book that I keep of all the techniques I've done. This is it. It just has all my information on the front of it. And then I have all of my techniques in alphabetical order with a card behind. I'm doing my 17th video today, technique video. That's how long I've been doing videos. I just got into this when the COVID quarantine struck us, and I had to go with a different venue than in-home classes, and I love teaching. So this is what I do. If you like Stampin' Up! And you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be able to help you with that. You can email me at ritaholmes0611@gmail.com, or you can go to my Stampin' Up! Website. You can leave messages there for me also. And I would love to help you, get you a catalog if you don't have one. If you do have a demonstrator, by all means, stick with your demonstrator. We do not want to take customers away from each other. That's not what this type of business is for. So with all that being said, I'm going to do a technique, and I named it Border Band Technique because I did not know what to name it. I saw somebody do this, or a version of this, on YouTube, and I forget who it is, and I'm sorry for that. But anyway, we're going to be making borders, and I have a couple samples. This was my first sample, and then this is a sample I did in a video this morning. And I'll tell you the reason why I have this up here is because when I pulled my tape back off, and I'll show you that, I pulled a little bit of the cardstock. So I put some rhinestones on here to cover up my mistake, because as you know, there's no mistakes in stamping. They're all embellishment opportunities. I did a border. This is a no layer card where I made the border, stamped, and did the saying. So there's no layers. A very lightweight card, easy for mailing. This one I did as really just very basic stamping. I did my border in a different direction and added my cinnamon, and I did add a border behind it to bring out the rich raspberry color right here. So that is just a couple different ways that you can use this technique. What I'm going to be showing you today, though, is this card. And I have everything here ready. So let's get started. I'm going to bring in a piece of 5 1/4 by 4 cardstock, and it's very important. And I have on my directions, it says grid paper. In parentheses, I put optional but very helpful, because what I do is I line up my paper. Not necessarily do I have to center it, but I want these cross lines. I want to make sure my paper is perfectly straight. Okay, so let me bring that up into the camera just a little bit more. I think I'm going to move it over. There we go. So as you can see, I've got it on a grid line straight. What I want to do is I want to bring in, this is crafter's tape. They say it's less sticky than painter's tape. I don't agree. I think the one I've got is pretty sticky. I ordered it from Amazon. It came in 3 different widths, which that's a plus. I've got this one, a smaller width, and then a larger width. And so what I have to do with this paper, and you're going to hear me, I'm going to put it onto my pant leg and take the stickiness off of it. And I'm going to do that. I want to put it down, pull it up, put it down, pull it up about 5 times, 5 or 6 times, because I really want most of that stickiness off of there, but I want it on there enough to hold my paper down and give me a straight line. Okay? So what I want to do now, I got to stand up to do that. I'm going to put this paper on, and I'm just going to go to the grid line above my cardstock so that it holds it to the table. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to take another piece of grid paper, or not grid paper, I'm sorry, tape, and I just want to make sure it's longer than my width of my paper, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take this on the leg of my pant, and I'm just going to keep so I think I've got enough of the tackiness or stickiness off of the back of it, because I don't want it to peel my cardstock. That's the main thing about doing this technique that you don't want. You don't want to pull cardstock up. Okay? Okay, I think I have it. You can make your border as thin or as thick as you like on here. All you need to do is make sure you line up your grid lines so that you are straight. Okay? And you want your paper to, your tape to be down for your stamping. Now what I do on this, I bring in a piece of copy paper. Nothing else but copy paper, because it's thin, and I'm going to lay it down right here. I'm not going to tape it down. I'm just going to lay it in that area. And the reason I'm doing that is when I'm stamping, the ink will not dry on this tape. So if I get my fingers in it and I come down here to stamp, and I don't want my thumbs hitting my cardstock or anything, because I want to keep that nice and clean. The first one I ever made, I didn't put this down, and I did get a little ink down here. So I just use that as something for me. I'm messy. So I have to kind of make it clean for myself. I'm going to go ahead and bring this in. This is the inside of my card. I want to stamp that at the same time as I'm doing this. So, and there's my border, and I am going to, I got that in there, so I just put this up far enough to where you're going to see what I'm doing. Get it in the camera. There we go. That's why I have my iPad, so it can show me when I'm missing something. So the colors I'm using is Pumpkin Pie, Bumblebee, Cherry Cobbler, Mossy Meadow, and Early Espresso. That's the colors we're using. The stamp set we are using is Gather Together. It's in our new mini catalog, but it was also as a in our catalog last year, so they brought it back, which I love it, so I'm kind of glad that it's back. And I'm going to be using the dies. I'm using the leaf die that goes with this stamp set called Gathered Leaves. And I'm also using circle dies. I'm going to be using this circle out of the layering circles, this circle, and then the second circle right here. And that's what I'm going to be using as far as dies. Okay, so now we're ready to start. I'm going to bring in my Cherry Cobbler first. And I'm going to ink that up. And I just make sure I got it inked good. And I'm going to stamp off right here. And then I'm going to stamp another one. And then I'm going to stamp one over here on my paper, my cardstock for the inside of my card. Okay, so that's all we're going to use the cherry cobbler for. I'm going to clean my stamp for the fact that I'm going to use Mossy Meadow now, so I don't want to have the red ink on the cherry cobbler ink on my stamp. So let's bring in Mossy Meadow. And I'm just going to put a leaf there, and then I'm going to add a leaf here. So, oh, and I got ink up there, so you know what? I'm going to add another leaf. That's what I say about my messy stamping. You just put a leaf right there. Kind of cover that up. No mistakes, ladies, no mistakes. Just gives us something else to do. So as you can see, I had a little bit of ink there, but I covered it up. So that works fine. Okay, that's the inside of our card. So let's get back to this one. We've used the leaf. Now we're going to come in with the bumblebee color and do the wheat. So I'm just going to lay that on the ink and make sure that it's inked up. And I'm just going to add a little bit of wheat into the picture. And that's probably all because I got pretty big leaves, so there we go. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the pumpkin pie. Because what I did with the pumpkin pie is, with all the white in here, I took this little, I'll stamp it right here, it's just little dots. And I'm just going to take that and stamp on my card and just give it some little bit of element there. Okay, so that's basically the border stamped. And now what we're going to do is we're going to peel that up. I'm going to leave this piece of paper here, so if I get any ink, I'm going to pull this off first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my finger here and I'm going to pull slowly. And the reason why I'm doing that is to make sure I don't pull up any cardstock. Okay, I did get enough of the tackiness off that's a very smooth in there. So that's a good thing. I'm going to move this up because, let me get a hold of this one. And I'm going to pull this up. And I just do this in case I have a little bit of ink on my fingers. Perfect. Pulled up perfect, ladies. Okay, so there's my border. As you can see, it's just a straight border. And then what we're going to do is we're going to decorate our card. And here's our finished one. So we're going to bring in our piece of Mossy Meadow cardstock. And I'm going to fold it in half. That's the base of my card. I am going to go ahead and adhere this to the front of my card. And that's been, better take this one. Try to use all of my glue up. I leave them stand upside down to make sure I get everything out of them. I use a lot of glue, so I like to get all, and I love the Tombow glue. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to stick it right here. And one thing about Tombow is you can move it a little bit until you put your fingers on it and get it down. I'm going to go ahead and add the inside of my card. So let's ink that up. I hope you guys enjoy watching my videos. I'm so new at it and still learning. Got a lot of things to learn. Like, I don't edit anything, so whatever I do in here, you guys see it. Which I think's good. You know, like I just moved that, but that's okay. There we go. So there's my inside. Now I'm going to crease this again so my card will lay flat while I'm working. I went ahead to save time in the video. I stamped the leaf image onto Mossy Meadow. I used Mossy Meadow ink onto Mossy Meadow cardstock and stamped this leaf to go on the front of my card. So I'm just going to use my Tombow again. Just put a little bit of glue on there. And I'm just going to lay it down, okay? You can put it as high up or whatever as you want. I think this one I got a little bit higher. I wanted to make sure I got this wheat showing since I didn't get to put as much wheat as I did in here. So I just want to make sure that showed. To save time again, I went ahead and stamped the sentiment on the small circle. Then I took the cherry cobbler and did the circle that's a little bigger, and we're going to adhere these two together with a little bit of Tombow. So just put a little bit on there. Go ahead and stick this on my circle, and it just gives it enough of an edge to give a little color. Now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put 2 dimensionals on it. And then I'm going to put it on the bumblebee circle, and that's going to add some dimension to my card. I like dimension. I have a really hard time doing that one layer card I showed you because I do like so much dimension. And I think we're going to let the stem show. Well, I'm not done yet. I'm sorry. I got to put it on here. Got ahead of myself. Okay, we got that on the bumblebee circle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this gold thread, and this is part of, I think one of the fall suites or something. It came with another ribbon. It's just like a gold thread, and I'm going to do 2 figure-8s, which is just doing this, you know, easy, okay? Then I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to cut that off. Okay, we'll put that out of the way. Now I need a piece of Scotch tape, so I'm just going to get me a little piece of Scotch tape, not very big. I don't need anything huge. And I'm going to take my circles, turn it over to the back, and I'm going to lay this in the center and put my Scotch tape on it to hold it down. That holds it flat, and it doesn't get in the way, okay? Well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 more dimensionals. I'm going to put one to the bottom or one to the top, whichever, but either side of my ribbon. And the reason being is this has already added some, you know, it's thicker right there. So I want my circle to not look lumpy. So I want to get it on both sides of that so that it's just on the cardstock itself. Then what I'm going to do, and as you can see, I did not care which way it's going to go on here, but I'm going to put that right here at a little bit of an angle, and I'm going to cut my little tails a little bit. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, it says Season of Thanks, and I'm going to take the Early Espresso ink, and I'm going to stamp the bottom of it, just right here in the corner. And don't press, just lay your ink on there, and you can see the ink get onto your, it's a photopolymer stamp, so you can see the ink get on it. And that way I don't have anything on the edges to worry about since I already have this glued down. So I'm going to go straight down with just a little bit of pressure, hold it for a second, and straight up. And there's my sentiment in the bottom of the card. So these are very simple cards. Let me show you again the samples. Here is my original sample. Here's the sample we made today in this video. Here's my sample I made in the Facebook video this morning where the paper stuck, so I added some rhinestones to cover up a mistake. So, you don't have to worry about that. Here's another one where I did my border at a diagonal and then just did my stamped images, and I mounted it on rich raspberry to bring out the rich raspberry and the stamp. This is the stamp set Comfort of Hope. Then I did one with the Forever Fern that is a single layer card. I used Just Jade, Pretty Peacock, Poppy Parade, and then Bumblebee for my little, I don't know if you can see them, there's just a little bit of splash of dots back there to add a little bit more dimension. But this is a no layer card with just my border and then a sentiment right there. So this is the stamping technique that I named Border Band Technique. Again, you can go over to my Stamp Crazy VIP page. You can pull off the techniques, and like I said, this is my 17th technique video that I've made. So I have a lot of techniques over there, and watch on YouTube, watch the other videos if you haven't already seen them, and you can go pull off any of the directions for those that you would like. And so I appreciate you watching. I appreciate if you'll share my videos and just let my name get out there a little bit more, and hopefully people like it. And if I could be of any help with you in any way, just contact me at RitaHolmes0611 @gmail.com. And I hope you have a great day.